Hey, Jeremy.
Hey Nam, how are you?
You know, I'm doing all right, man. I hope you're doing well. We're here today. We are gathered here today to talk about this movie that may or may not be on my background. You chose The Hangover.
Yes.
Now, why would you choose this?
This two reasons. One, this is one of my favorite movie experience I ever had with you and a group of people in theaters. The vibe in the theater in this movie was amazing. And second, this is up after watching this movie, it is up there as one of my top favorite movies of all time. I love this first movie. The other two, I don't care about. I can walk away from this first movie and to be just fine. And it should have been like that. This should have just been a one-off and just moved on. But I understand money talks. But thank goodness that the other two movies don't really connect to these movies per se, where you have to watch the other two after this one. No, I never saw the trailer. I remembered, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, we went to go see this movie. I heard nothing but raves about this movie, but I never saw a trailer for this. And you decided you wanted to go see it or something like that. I went to go with you, and I was just nonstop on the edge of my seat, laughing my head off, total shock value. I actually recommend that. I'm glad that I didn't see the trailer for this movie at the time, because going in blind for this movie paid off so much for me. And I want to pick it because not only it just blew me away, it was a fun story, a good adventure for what it is, and it was funny. And you get three actors that you never, to me personally, never really noticed, never thought these three characters would be together. Now I kind of started noticing them more further on. So.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that aspect. Is that the movie? The reason why I chose the movie whenever we watched it back then was because it had nothing but good ratings, and everyone had talked about this movie like it was like a must-see movie. Which they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong, and we'll talk about that more in depth. I'm sure once we rewatch it. But yeah, this movie was such an underrated movie for us, under the radar movie, not underrated, under the radar movie for us, and it got nothing but good praise. But yeah, so now that we've kind of expressed that we enjoyed this movie. So spoiler alert, we enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
What did you think of the trailer going into it?
Makes me, no lie, makes me glad I'm glad I didn't watch the trailer. I think it gave up too much away. It just gave, after now looking at it, I've seen the movie, it's like, wow, it gave too much away. But the question is to myself, like, how do you hide this kind of movie without spoiling anything, right? That's the challenge of this movie. So if anything, I'm grateful I didn't see it, but at the same time, watching the trailer, would I be interested in it? Maybe, and that's because maybe I just want to see where the shenanigans go, I guess, in that case. But the actors did not pull me in, because I didn't know any of them. Like, I don't know these people. Like, why would I be interested in this? I don't see anybody go anywhere. Now, when I saw Mike Tyson at the end of the trailer, that was kind of interesting. But I say that should have been hidden. They shouldn't even shown that part. That should have been hidden. But the trailer itself, I think it did a good job telling you a little bit about what the story is without trying to hold your hand. I don't know if it's still sold to me personally, due to these guys going out on a crazy trip, waking up from a hangover and don't know what's going on. So it's a little challenge to answer this question right now. But yeah, I guess that's how I feel about it. I feel like that I'm glad I didn't see the trailer. I'm glad that I kind of went in blind.
I think I felt the same way as I did when I first watched the movie, or watched the trailer. I'm sorry. I think it did a good job of telling you what it is and what it's somewhat going to be. I mean, there's so much more hidden in this movie as far as like how funny it is, and how much of an adventure it is. But I don't know if it necessarily did a good job. Or actually, I think it did a good job. I just don't think, for myself or my taste, it was a movie that I would have been like, oh yeah, we have to go see that movie because that looks like a lot of fun. Because the movie is a lot of fun. It's just, I don't think the trailer portrayed that it was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
It kind of showed little tidbits here and there, and the question about whether or not you would be more curious about wanting to watch the movie. I think that's what they're trying to hit on it. And I think they did a solid job, but for me and my personal taste, I probably wouldn't have been like, nah, I'd wait for that to go on cable, you know?
So you're glad that you went in blind because for that reason, right? Because if you saw the trailer, then there would be some things like, nah, that's not for me. So it's kind of better you didn't see the trailer going in, and then you kind of accept it more for what it was they were trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think without the reviews and without the critical reviews and everything like that, and without word of mouth, this would have been a movie I wouldn't have seen until cable TV. Kind of like Our Love for Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies. I think this one I'm glad we watched in theaters. I wish we watched Joe Dirt in theaters. It was one of those movies that I think the trailer itself is fine, but just didn't reach out and touch me in a way that I was like, all right, I have to go watch this movie. The Mike Tyson gimmick at the end of the movie, or at the end of the trailer was I think the reason why they did that was because they were like, Mike Tyson's in a movie, you have to, if you need something to kind of check it out, this is one thing to definitely check out. It's kind of like that. It's like you're on the edge of a cliff, and they're trying to push you to make you go watch it. Mm-hmm. And this was that little push.
I can see that because I guess like it's one of those kind of like salesman pitch where you say, if that's not enough for you, check this out kind of moment, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I think so, exactly. So I think for me, trailer is not necessarily me back then, and even me now. The trailer itself, I think they did a good job with the trailer, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, and this is the only movie that proved to me that it's better to not see the trailer for this particular movie. And then going in and you feel like that it was a good accomplishment. Sometimes when you go blind in a movie, it ends up probably being bad or something like that. And you're like, damn, I wish I watched the trailer first. But this one here, it just felt like it paid off. Like the reward was going in blind because this movie is a surprise factor, right? This is what it was. It was supposed to. You're not trying to figure out what's going on ahead. You're trying to accept what they're going to throw at you. I'm excited to rewatch this. This is one of my favorite rewatchable movies. So.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And we hope that you guys will come back and check us out after we watch this movie, and hopefully after you watch this movie. Spoilers alert, as always. And come catch us after these messages. And we are back from our 2010's choice. 2009's The Hangover.
Wrong on me.
Which I'm sure our listeners are not going to complain about that, because who doesn't want to talk about The Hangover? So if you really want another 2010 choice, just hit me up and just tell me that we're gonna let Nam take two 2010 choices and skip Jeremy's choice here.
Why not?
Just because, hey, let's be honest with ourselves. There's a lot of movies that happened in the 2000s and 1999 as well, the 90s, that I had to cut off my list. But we make an exception because this is the in-game bosses.
I get one cheat card. I get one cheat day. This is my cheat day.
Who figured I'm just the underboss. He's the main boss. So
there you go.
All right. So before we go into talking about our movie here, our 2009 choice, The Hangover, was released June 5th, 2009. 100 minutes long. Had a budget of 35 million, and did a box office of basically $469.3 million.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. So, Jeremy, first question after the gate. Are you mad, man? Are you mad?
Am I mad?
Know why we should be mad?
What?
Because this movie could have easily been written by you or me.
Oh, really? You believe that? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like, you're telling me that it took until 2009 for someone to sit there and write. It's like, you know what? Let's write a Vegas movie about a group of people that just go to Vegas.
True.
It's like, it was there, man. We could have written this. We could have been multi-millionaires.
Yeah.
But we're not. So, we's nuts. But so Jeremy, watching this movie, man, how do you feel?
So, for the listeners, let's see, it's 2021. So 5 years ago, 2016, we actually took a trip to Vegas. And it is, I'm not going to say I bond with the movie even more, but it's pretty cool now that I watched this movie before going to Vegas. Now watching it again and gone to Vegas. So now I can understand a little bit of places they go and just say, hey, I've been in there, or hey, I know of this now. And I think that's pretty cool because let's be honest, like they go around Vegas, but you're not seeing every landmark that they go to. You see a couple of things and you're like, I remember that. Like the Caesar's Palace, and whatnot. I still enjoyed this movie. It's been a long time since watched this movie, and I'm not gonna lie, there were a little bit of surprises I forgot happened in this movie. And for 100 minutes, it was a pretty good smooth transition, like a really smooth ride quick to me through the movie.
Yeah,
it
went quick to me.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm glad they did a good job for me of them just keeping you on the next thing. You didn't stay too long for what scene. They just kept throwing new stuff at you, and I thought that they did a good job pulling it off without being too confusing, too colluded, And you realize, like, at the end of the movie that they'd gone through, like, over, like, 10 or 15 places, per se. But when I watched the beginning of this movie, Nob, I thought about... Well, actually, Nob, let me ask you this. I have my answer, but I want you to have the answer. So, when they went out to Vegas, they had their night, and they woke up with all this crazy stuff happening in their hotel room. Mm-hmm. Out of the three people, where would you be at? In the front door while your wife is walking out the door that you just married? Would you be Alan behind the bar, or would you be such and such by the bathroom where the tiger is? Like, if you woke up, what three spots would
Phil?
you be?
Phil.
Yeah.
Was Phil by the tiger?
Phil was
right.
No, yeah, because Alan had to walk over Phil to get to the bathroom.
To get to the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I would probably be Ed Helms in this one. I would probably be Stu as far as like waking up and just kind of catching myself on the ground.
I 100% agree with that because some of the responses that he said to certain things, I picture you the most, especially the part where like when Alan walked out of the bathroom, he's like, "There's a tiger in the bathroom." Then Ed Helms' character, he kind of just looks like, no, there's not. Like you're still out of it. You're still out of it. Yeah. I can teach you. You're just still out of it. Like what? No.
That somewhat sounds like me too. But I would probably be the first person that walked to go see if there was a tiger there.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like I would be the one out of our group. Because all right, so we talked about this whole Vegas movie. So when we went to the Vegas trip. No matter what trips you guys go to, there's always that one friend, which is Zach Galifianakis in this one, who plays Alan. There's always that one friend that you have that isn't quite that doesn't quite fit in the group, but is just there because they just kind of fit. And I know every group has this, where you just have that friend who you like. Don't get me wrong, but they just don't fit into the vibe of the group chemistry, right?
Mm-hmm. He's the wild card.
Yeah, he's the wild card. And that's our friend Brandon, who we don't have here on the show at this moment, which we talked about at some point having him on the show. But yes, we did go to the Vegas trip. So, it's always fun because when you watch movies like this, you try to implant yourself into the movie as like one of the characters in the movie. And I think Jeremy and I have a harder time trying to figure out which one we were in this movie because I think we both have a mix of Stu and a mix of Phil in this particular movie. But yeah, we did have 4 people too as well. My other homie Chin, who was also came onto that trip too. He was the one that's been to Vegas before, so he was kind of one of the guys that kind of showed us around Vegas to a point too. Mm-hmm. Whom we discussed, we think Chin would be more like Stu.
Okay.
Per se.
Yeah.
Would be Stu, but ultimately be our Doug in this case.
I think I would be Phil. I'd probably be the one like closest to that bathroom door.
as
Just
like
waking up. Just waking up.
yeah,
Where would I be? I think I'd be in Phil's spot.
yeah,
Because through this whole movie, I think the fun question that came through my head is not so much of like what all they did that night. It's about like how did it happen in the first place? So like for instance, like
yeah.
the tiger, right? So, it's not I wonder how did they get the tiger in? Then how did they get the tiger back to which belonged to Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like all these things that are happening, all this, and that's where it kind of got hilarious, like finding out like how did the baby get in the hotel?
Yeah.
How did the bed get out of the place? Those were really, really fun questions to try to answer as they go on this journey. Before I kind of go further down the road of this, what was your thoughts of revisiting this movie?
I know. I mean, that was the main thing about the movie that was so brilliant about the movie is that this movie is about Vegas, but it isn't about Vegas. Like they show you nothing of Vegas, but that was the brilliance about this movie is that they were like, we go to Vegas, but we're gonna not show you what Vegas is like. We're gonna take this and make it more of a comedy and a mystery comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the absolute brilliance of this movie is that it's not like Vegas Vacation with the National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation where they try to show you clips of Vegas and how enjoyable it is. Like truly in this movie, if you watched it, you really didn't see Vegas the way that most people see Vegas. Most people will see Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably a better depiction of Vegas if you watch Swingers.
Yeah.
Because this one really kind of hid it from you, and then they showed you parts and clips of Vegas. And once you started learning, trying to get to learn what was going on throughout the entire deal, that's what made this movie so smooth. That's what made this movie so, I would say, quick. Even though it's a 100-minute movie, is that it kept you on your seat in a sense that it was funny the entire time, but you were trying to figure out what was going on, how it happened, and what the hell was going on. Because as much as I'd wish it was like our Vegas trip, this was not like our Vegas trip whatsoever.
No, not at all.
Our Vegas trip was fun, but I mean, the truth of the matter is in Vegas nowadays, you can go to one place in Vegas and stay in that one place the entire time and
that's
not
very
have to
true.
leave because there's so much to do in the one place, the one casino. Unlike us, we decided to go visit all the casinos just because we hadn't seen them all yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a lot of walking.
Since this movie had so much going on, Nam, I want to ask you first, like, what are just some scenes that just off the top of your head just made you just remember the funniest parts to you? What parts made you laugh?
So ones that kind of keep getting me like every single time was with Alan and Carlos and them trying to figure out trying to get the first step of figuring out what happened last night. The fact that every time Alan just kept like messing with Carlos and using Carlos is just like not at the table, quit whacking yourself off basically. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what would the parents say? I was like, did the parents approve of this,
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the story on this that Zach Galifianakis went to the director, Todd Phillips, and was like, hey, because originally he was doing it to a doll, but he was like, hey, I was wondering if I could possibly do it to the kid, just actually do it to the kid. And the kid's mom had like walked off set and went to go do something. And Todd Phillips went up to the dad and was just like, so, Zach's really wanting to, use do the whole masturbation thing with your kid. And the dad was like, all right, so my wife is going to be gone for 30 minutes. Can you get this filmed before she gets back? And I sat there and I laughed about it because I'm just like, that would totally be a me move. I'd be like, dude, my wife is going to be gone for 30 minutes. I'm not married, but my wife, if I had a wife, I may not have a wife anymore if you don't get this done in 30 minutes. So let's please get this over with because I think it would be hilarious. But that scene, and I think the scene with the cops.
With the taser class?
Just that entire run with the interrogating room, and the next the taser part.
Okay.
Just like that entire thing for some reason. Oh, and not just the integrity, like Phil calling
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Doug's fiance and wife,
Yeah.
and telling her it's like, yeah, so we just made this pact that we're not gonna talk to our wives and stuff like that because you'll buy that, right? Please buy that. Like that entire run right there, just hysterical to me too as well, and that was one of the things that it didn't happen in Vegas, but it was absolutely hilarious.
For me, I think going to the wedding place and Stu just losing it. I think Ed Helms did awesome. He looked great for the part. He played the part very well of this. Why is this all happening to me? Kind of character. Yeah. Getting just the shit end of the stick, right? Yeah. I love it, and I just love that he's like, okay, so as soon as we're done here, we're just gonna burn the car and everything in it. It's like, I'm not gonna torch a car. I'll do it. I'll torch the car. He just wants to get this over with and move on. That so much he'll do the craziest thing ever. And
see, that's so much you though.
That's me?
I think that's you. I think you would get to the point where, like, if you gotten pushed over the edge, it's like, screw it, let's just do it. I'll burn the car. Y'all don't even have to do anything. Y'all don't need fingerprints. I got this.
You think I would be that irrational? Okay.
I think if you broke, you would that would happen to you.
Okay.
If you broke, I think that would happen to you.
Make sure you call me out on it if it happens, because I'm kind of curious, what is my limit? I guess maybe that would be the limit, especially.
I was gonna say your limit might be, everyone, the DJ playing music and everybody sitting down on the dance floor, because you just straight walk through there and you're just walking through the crowd, just doing that Tyrone Lue step over.
Yeah, but
not Tyrone Lue, but the Allen Iverson step over, and just telling everyone that
But yeah,
that's dance.
But that's basically vocal. That's vocal. That's being vocal about it, not physically doing something yet, right? And the funny part is, I think anybody would be in that situation would lose it, especially like you left your card at the hotel to take care of all the crazy stuff that happened, on your bill. Like, we're looking over like $5,000 probably of damage and all this stuff that's happening, and he's just like, I am literally screwed. But El Helms did a really good job. But I just laugh because every time Stu gets really happy about something, then he just loses it in 2 seconds, and I love it. I love how he fluctuates like that, and I love the fact that, like, I feel like if I was Stu, I would stay with the stripper. I wouldn't go back to my girlfriend that just treats me like trash. I'm like, what? That
actually kind of, that begs the question too.
Yeah,
this is like,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know what I'm losing if I marry her. Like, at least she's treating me nicely and everything like that. Would the marriage last longer? I mean, last long? I don't know, but it's better than being with his girl that is back at home. Just treat him like crap, and let her get away of like banging a bartender on a cruise. So I don't blame that, and if I was him, I would probably stick with her. Why not?
That begs the question I was going to ask too. Is just like, if you were in Stu's situation, just in general, whether you're dealing with the bad evil ex-girl or current girlfriend or not, would you be comfortable dating a sex worker? Because she was technically an escort besides being a stripper.
I get what you're. It's funny. I think the question is like, would I stay married with her in this case, right? Because honestly, the date,
either way.
Well, dating means like I have a choice, but marriage is more of like, crap, I'm locked into this for a little bit.
Well, they annulled the marriage though. They annulled the marriage at the end, and he still went out on a date with her after, like a week after or something like that. So I mean, technically speaking,
but look what she did at the end. If we're talking about just hindsight, just like first time, no, through Stu's situation of like how much she's done for him at the like Vegas table, getting the $80,000 back to try to get Doug back to all of that. Yeah, I'd probably date her. Because, like, she's badass, That's basically judging a book by its cover at the beginning, but then realize, like, oh, you're normal just like everybody else. But at the same time, too, she was going to stop being a stripper because I was a doctor. so maybe, yeah. I guess maybe yes. I'll go. You know what? I'll bite the bullet. Yes, I would date her as long as she was gonna stop after, like, dating. When she dates me, she stops doing it and finds something else. Yes. So,
I was gonna say, if we were Stu, we'd be a little bit older, which technically I am still a little bit older. So there you go.
mm-hmm.
My answer would be yes too, absolutely. I mean, if someone that attractive was actually attracted to me in that sense, I'd give it a shot at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I would give it a shot, most definitely. And if I was in Stu's position, that would have been an easy yes, because kind of like what you said, what I have to go home to later on is absolutely a nightmare.
Gosh, I am so glad I've never been in a relationship like that. That's just terrible. And it's almost like through
You
the
still
movie.
got time.
True, but it helps you root for Stu for more, because like the more bad stuff happens to Stu, you root for like keep it going, because this is a sign. Even Phil's telling you like, dude, she's terrible. Like, come on, man, read the signs. But no, like Stu getting married was just one of the funniest parts to me. The tiger and Mike Tyson in general. I think those moments were really funny, because that's still surprising no matter what. Like when I first watched it, I knew Mike Tyson was in it, but I was still surprised Mike Tyson was in it, because it's like you could have picked any cameo, but Mike Tyson was the one. And I love the conversation of that whole thing from the moment that Alan got knocked out. And I know this is you. Oh, Stu's line where he's like, "Hey, Jeremy, like that's Mike Tyson." I'm like, I know. I mean, he still got it, It's like, I know that's you saying that line.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. But like even that part is freaking hilarious, to the point where Phil calling in the air. It's the second time I heard in the movie since Risky Business. And then just the fact of trying to get that tiger back was pretty entertaining to me.
I would say one of the surprises for me in that particular scene was when Mike Tyson punched Alan.
Yes.
Wasn't surprised that he punched him, but it was when he punched him, because a part of me thought it was during a completely different part of the song.
You thought it was going to be like right at the bow. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. But it was after like singing the song, and then he hits him.
It's like, sing it, hold on. Then he hit him again the second time. I was just like, okay. Wow, I completely forgot this, because I was totally thinking it was like the bam, knockout.
And I think that's on purpose, because I think we all predict that if we went back and watched it, that we think that part would happen. But I'm glad they kind of played it off like continue on. Then that was a more surprise factor, because I remember when we watched that in theaters, everybody, I swear, was in silence in that part. Like, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We know the baddest man on the planet is still the baddest man on the planet, man.
And then just the funny part is like when they try to get they were trying to like rock, paper, scissors, who gets the tiger, and they're like, Alan should go in there. It's like, dude, Alan took a hit from Mike Tyson. Like, he gets a free card no matter what, and he lived. All right, so you leave him alone. So
yeah, would you give him a pass though after he got punched by Mike Tyson? I'd be like, he would be the one that's most senseless to go ahead and just let him go into it. I was like, man, your life can't get any better than this, man. You got punched by Mike Tyson. Just go in there with that tiger, man. So I wouldn't give him a pass. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
You okay?
I was like, hey, Mike Tyson thought you had a punchable face. That's unfortunate for you, dude.
I think that people that do watch the movie, I can see people getting a little irritated by Alan, but the thing about Alan in this movie is he does have some weird, annoying moments, but the punishment he gets afterwards is pay off through that to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's why I deal with him a lot better in this movie, because I was like, okay, your randomness and your kind of like dumbness kind of annoys me a little bit, but the payoff is sometimes we get to see him learn from that.
After the second time you're watching it through and seeing what you kind of said there, I didn't actually find Alan really that bad.
Okay.
Like the first time I watched the movie, I remember thinking somewhat like, all right, whatever. But then again, like I mentioned before, I think we all have, like everyone, including the people who are listening, all have that friend that's kind of like that. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't know of anyone that's kind of like that, then I'm sorry to tell you, you're probably that person. But you all kind of have that friend that's kind of like that. So I'm just like, all right, yeah, I can understand that. But I will say though, the person, and I hate to say this, but the person that really irritated me the most in this movie, and really kind of my one negative in this movie, was Leslie Chow. Ken Jeong's character
Hmm.
was just kind of had more screen time than he needed and annoyed me a little bit more in this movie. And I know he was like kind of like the antagonist in a way. I don't know. There was a lot of things I think he did in this movie that didn't necessarily make me laugh, but just made me a little bit more annoyed.
I had fun with him. I enjoyed him, because he only had 3 parts, really. I probably wasn't annoyed as you were, but I was entertained by some of the stuff, especially like, ramming, meeting them. It's during the time they met them again after he escaped out of the trunk.
Yeah.
And then the Mojave Desert meetup. I enjoyed both of those scenes. I thought they were just funny in that way. And the fact of him making fun of Alan, I don't know why, I was just laughing because like he just said something so stupid that it's funny kind of thing. It's just like, ha, he fell because he's fat, and it's like, and just the way his voice sound for that was just funny to me. But I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah,
the
the
same
Mojave
time, I didn't get
Desert
annoyed
one
with
was
him.
for sure the one I was talking about that it was a little bit too long to me.
Okay.
It was a little bit too long as far as him, as far as Leslie Chow's characters, and it was annoying to me.
Oh,
Like the car ramming part, like you mentioned before, I actually didn't mind that one so much.
okay.
I actually kind of liked him in that one. Next, the one where he jumped out of the trunk, I was just kind of like, okay, is this really necessary?
I had no problem with it really because I feel like that helped the connection that we find out later that is Black Doug. I say Black Doug was kind of pointless in that way. I feel like there was other ways to find out where Doug is. Someone else could have set up the joke of someone on the floor. Why do they call them roofies if you're on the floor all the time? I don't think
Yeah,
Black Doug needed to be in there for that particular scene. I guess they can do it. They
yeah,
did it for the surprise factor. Like, that's not our Doug. That's Black Doug. Like all
yeah.
that. I get it.
Yeah,
So.
he wouldn't really need it as far as the connection of the being the drug dealer and all that stuff too as well. Yeah, I get that.
Mhm. It does begs the question of if what if Doug could have done to find himself getting out of the situation he's at up there, right? Because we find out that like at the end of the movie he's on the roof of this hotel, right? And like just the fact they never care to go up to the roof and whatnot, and the fact that he had to throw the bed to get a sign that didn't work. Like, what would you do?
The only other thing I would imagine though is that, trying to find things to keep throwing off the building and get someone's attention. But then again, being able to see that high up into the ceiling or the roof of a building is probably virtually impossible, right? Unless you have eagle eye vision.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. He's pretty screwed because other than just tossing a bunch of his clothes like off the side of the building and just trying to wave it around and get somebody's attention, I really don't know what else you could do. And he was burnt to a crisp, which I'm going to tell you, man, he had skin cancer when it was all said and done, man. That brother did not enjoy his honeymoon. I'll tell you that one for a fact right now.
Probably not. Nam, is there anything else that stood out to you or anything you want to say about The Hangover?
Just like some like little random questions, kind of like what you said. Alan was like at the very beginning of the movie where he was just like, I can't be within 20 feet in front of a school. I can't be by a Chuck E. Cheese. What exactly did Alan do to get to this point where I guess a sex predator? I don't know.
I think that he.
Child sex predator. I guess.
I don't think it's at that level.
I don't think so either. But
I think I think that he's a man kid, and he just likes hanging out kids his age. And I think that he was at Chuck E. Cheese, and I think he like just played some games with kids. I think he got a little extreme. I think Alan gets a little extreme on certain things. It's like, for
Which
instance,
is why they banned him from all the schools and stuff like that. Makes sense.
Yeah, like for instance, like the gas station, right? When they put up the car and the old man was like, "Woo, that's a nice looking car." He's like, "Keep it moving." Yeah, go away. Yeah, yeah. I'm not afraid to hit an old man. Like I can see him at Chuck E. Cheese, like, you ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win. Like being that like kind of person like that, or he just
And shoving the kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kind of laughed at that part. The other thing was, how did the cops know what room they were in when they busted into Jade's room.
Do you think that they were followed for a while?
But if they were, why wouldn't we stop them like right at the parking lot when they got out of the car? Right? Why wait until they get into the room and bust into the
Do
room
you
and
think?
just?
But okay, let me ask you this: do you think that?
If you were pissed, if it was you, like someone took your cop car and
Yeah,
was going to embarrass you, wouldn't you just like roll up on them quickly?
I'm guessing. I'm trying to think. Right, where would I get them at? Would I get them at
Yeah,
the
right.
hospital?
Exactly.
Would I get them at the wedding?
If you followed them, right? If you were happen to follow them, or you
Yeah, like
decided,
where would be the perfect time? Would it be while Mr. Chow's men were hustling me at the wedding place? Would it be at the hospital?
which if Mr. Chow's, if it was if I was the police officer and Mr. Chow's men was hustling me at that thing, or at least if I was a police officer and I saw that, I better be able to stop that crap, man.
Hmm. But to
Because
answer your
they had some serious stuff going on there.
but yeah, to answer your question, I don't know. That is a weird moment for that, and the only
Yeah,
answer
I
would
don't
be
know
to
why. It
follow.
just kind of came to mind.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Because I would say the same thing with Mr. Chow. Like, how did you guys know where he was that night? You just took a chance and just rammed the cars. Like, I hope it's them. you know?
Yeah, right. That part I can see. I can see Mr. Chow actually following them.
Okay.
I don't necessarily see the cops doing it, but then again, you just never know. Because I'm just like, why are you going to wait until they go into Jade's house and just go through this entire ordeal just to bust in and just scare the crap out of everybody?
I think it's funny that nobody decided to hang a don't disturb me around the doorknob, because I'm questioning, like, are you telling me no housekeeping came in there yet?
Oh, you mean in the
Hotel?
Vegas hotel?
Yeah.
At Caesar's Palace. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be true. Like it's like nobody walk in there and just be like, all right, guys.
Because
so there's a freaking tiger.
Because yeah, but think about it. Like, okay, back to the very first question. Like, how did they get the tiger in the hotel? Right? Like, there made sense of them wrapping them up and put them in there. But they are crazy out of their mind drunk. Like, you expect me to believe they just walked the tiger in here? Like, don't mind us. We're gonna bring the tiger upstairs. Because how funny is it that Tiger went so crazy in the car on the drive back to Mike Tyson's place, but in the video at Mike Tyson's place, that Tiger did not even care. He was like, "I'm here for the ride," and they all got in that car, including Doug. All got in that car, drive perfectly at the hotel with no issues. Somehow became hell driving that Tiger back. That's so weird.
Yeah, like, and you and I know too. Going through Vegas is like they never sleep, so there's no way you can just sneak a tiger all the way into your room,
Yeah.
Unless you were just like, this is Sigmund and Roy's tiger here. We're just, helping them take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's just so funny. I think, though, like, I don't know if it's true or not, or this is believable, but do you believe that cops really care about their reputation like that, where they would make a deal with them to get them scot-free like that in a situation of the taser and all that?
I think that's a fair statement. I really do actually think that's believable because
Okay.
that was a pretty good play on the whole embarrassment thing. Just like, would you be cool with being known as the cop that had his car stolen by a couple like Vegas tourists who thought Vegas was all cool and stuff? I mean, ask yourself that question, and you're just like, yeah, no, I wouldn't be cool with that. If I could tase them or do something that would physically harm them, I'd let them I'd let them go after that. But I would have to do something that could physically harm them
Okay.
without killing them.
So, you want to go right into the award, sir?
So this award will be called the Dumb and Dumber's Annoying Award. It's for the most, annoying person / moment, or however you want to take this. I kind of broke it down into people more than I did in moments because I think but we'll talk about that here. So I have three nominees. One of them I don't know if we should necessarily consider a nominee, but I'm just going to anyways. The first nominee I mentioned earlier is Leslie Chow in the Mojave Desert part of the movie.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit too much in that scene, the Mojave Desert. I think there was enough of him in like the first two scenes that you were like, all right, cool. But I think he went a little bit too much and too long in that
Okay.
in the Mojave Desert part where he continued the fat joke, calling them gay boys and
Mm-hmm.
just just kind of being a little over the top with his character. So I give him that one.
Okay.
The second one, and actually the next two are actually towards the end of the movie. So Tracy, Stu's girl, I give her the nod here as well as, or I give her a mention here as well. The whole scene with her and Stu and her just basically being that really annoying, over the top, nagging girlfriend who's like, I called this person. I found out this. You didn't do this. You weren't here. Da 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 da.
Basically making
It's
a
like,
scene
dude,
over something.
yeah,
Yeah.
making a scene, and I think that kind of like, yeah, she was absolutely one of the more annoying people. And next, the third one, which we kind of mentioned too, but I laugh about, is the wedding singer. Because who the hell hires this guy?
I like him.
he just gone around. He's like, you want to ride my magic stick? And just dancing up
I'm
on
the love
the odor.
doctor.
Yeah. And then he flips him off and he just walks away. Yeah. He'll don't get me wrong, still funny, but can be annoying to some of the people who are just regular guests. And I'm just like, I just want to dance with my wife, man. Why are you trying to rape her? You put me off too? Why are you doing this? What's up, Turk? Get the hell out of here, man.
Right?
No one liked you in The Wedding Singer, anyways. So those are my three nominees. Jeremy, you have anything to add on that?
Was that the baby in there? The baby was a little annoying.
Oh, you didn't like Carlos?
It's just because he's a baby, man. I think if I was in that situation, he'd be annoying because like you have to take care of him while dealing with all this drama. Like, oh my god, just stop, leave me alone. You know.
Poor, actually, the Carlos scene. The Carlos scenes are awesome in this movie.
I feel so sorry for Carlos. Just kidding. Especially got hit by the car door.
Yeah, hit by the car. I don't know what it is about that scene. It just cracks me up. I know it's absolutely horrible, but every single time that happens, I laugh.
It's like, oh my god, you hit the baby.
Yeah, and I guess it's because like how the dog moves and like how like they just.
I think I laughed hard because of Stu's reaction to it. He's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Hit the baby. So, no. This shot, I want to do honorable mention because just a baby in general is annoying sometimes in those kind of situations. I'm going to give it to Tracy. Because during this whole movie, I wasn't really annoyed by any of the characters until that wedding part. But thank goodness that like the payoff was she got put on blast in front of everybody. Right?
Yeah.
So, and just the nagging of calling every 5 seconds of where she is. For someone that is screwing somebody else on the side, it's so funny. She still wants to control where Stu is at all times.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have fun. Only I can have fun. So overall, yeah, she's like number one, the most annoying character in the movie, hands down. And a character in herself. So
there you go. Yeah. Mine will actually end up going to Ken Jeong, Leslie Chow in this one in the Mojave Desert.
Okay.
I think that was the one, like, I think at some point in that scene is like, I was kind of like, we get it, we get who you are, just move on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't necessarily need to keep seeing this. Like, I mean, he had his moments, and when they were short, they were good, but when it got too long, I was just kind of like, all right, I get it, let's move on.
Okay.
Like, so I'll give it to him. Audible. My number two is that wedding singer because nobody knows why anyone hires him. No.
He is the man.
There we go. All right, so going to our Rotten Tomatoes score. So it's not our Rotten Tomatoes score. My bad. So where we compare ourselves to whether we are a critic or whether we are with you guys, the audience. Rotten Tomatoes, the critical score for Rotten Tomatoes out of 240 people who wrote in a review gave it a 78. The audience out of 250,000 reviews gave it an 84%. I think this one's pretty simple, but Jeremy, what do you call it?
84. I'm pretty sure you know why. I don't need to go into discussion of it. 84.
There you go. I will go 84 as well. I am with the audience, absolutely. I think this movie is, especially in the movies nowadays, I think this is one of those movies where it feels like it's the last of its kind. Because
Okay.
I don't think we really see these kinds of movies in 2021 anymore.
Okay.
Or even in 2020. Like, honestly, I can't think of a movie where you can just watch it and just have fun but laugh consistently that really kind of came out within the last 5 years.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I don't know if you can either, but
No.
I think I think this movie, once it came out and once we watched it, was an instant classic and should be a must watch on anybody's
Mm-hmm.
and anybody's list. So 84%
Okay.
for sure on this one.
Okay, so as you know, this episode is part of the In-Game Boss program and network gaming and other varieties shows. So definitely check out all our links. With that, thank you so much, and we will catch you on our next movie pick.